Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. I am your host, Corey C., and I'm here with a very special guest today. I am here with social media ambassador Victor of the HEX Fan Network. How are you today? And he is building a new project that I'm really excited to speak about.
Yeah, hey Corey, glad to talk with you, man. I've enjoyed some of your content here in the past, and I've seen you around Twitter. Yeah, I just reached out, wanted to talk with you about HEX Postcards, and responded really quick and said, "Yeah, man, let's do it." So we kind of set this up yesterday, and we're talking about it today.
Absolutely, and I think it's awesome that you're a social media ambassador for HEX Postcards. I accidentally said that you were the social media ambassador of HEX Fan Network, but you're actually the creator of HEX Fan Network, which I think is awesome as well.
Thank you.
So you're doing a lot.
That I do kind of on the side. It's very early stages stuff. Right now, I just basically collect and repost stuff that other people post, and I try to and take it from a historical perspective, if you will, and just kind of collect some of the memories and greatest posts and greatest hits, you could say, of what we've done since HEX was started. And that's just something I do in my spare time. Well, I mean, all of this is volunteer stuff, right?
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I definitely run that on Twitter, and I'm trying to make that a little bit bigger as well.
Cool. Well, I want to say I really appreciate what you're doing for HEX. I appreciate that you're working with two HEX-oriented projects, and that's amazing. And you're doing it voluntarily, and I think that's one of the reasons why the HEX community is so great. That a lot of the work you see going on in HEX, the volunteer work, the promotions, it's not done with any monetary. There's a lot of people doing it for free. And I want to ask you about this project, because this project really piqued my eye when you asked me to do an interview, and I'm happy to give any HEX or Pulse-oriented project a voice. I don't believe in gatekeeping. I just don't think it's necessary, or I don't think it's beneficial by any means. So in your own words, Victor, what would you say? What is HEX Postcards? What is it?
So it's this project that was kind of spearheaded by Togosh and Philip Banks, who are two people on Twitter and in Telegram. They've been around since the beginning, frankly. They're a couple of OGs, and they've been involved in this marketing effort, which we put together kind of in response to what Richard was saying earlier this year and last year. Well, he's been saying it for a while, but in particular earlier this year, kind of in response to the whole NASCAR situation. Richard had advised Hexicans direct marketing is a much better and more effective use of our marketing dollars and efforts to get more people involved in HEX. And this project came about because we're looking for a way to market HEX in a way that's kind of it's traditional in a sense, but it's also kind of decorrelated in a sense as well, because how often do you get a piece of physical mail that you can touch, that comes directly to your mailbox, that has a digital asset on it? And so the premise is simple. We're sending the postcards to some of the richest zip codes in the United States, and these cards are printed and sent at cost by Philip Banks, who's one of our who's in the industry, the shipping and marketing industry.
Awesome.
And he has connections with printers and sorry, I have a phone ringing here. And so we're sending out these cards, and so far we've sent out about 250,000 cards as of last month. And
wow.
Yeah, they've definitely shown some results, and that's kind of the very bare bones overall take of the project.
No, and I think that's really awesome. The reason why I say that is there are still people out there. There are many people out there that look at look at marketing and advertisement from a traditionalist standpoint. They don't look at social media marketing. They don't look at internet marketing. They don't look at the different avenues of marketing and advertisement that we see on different platforms on the internet. However,
Right.
the traditionalists, who are generally among the older generation, generally among the older, wealthier, conservative generation, they would be more enticed to invest in something if they saw a postcard with legitimate information that is interconnected from an emotional standpoint and an investment standpoint to the common man. I mean, when you look at Richard Hart's outrage marketing, yeah, it's an enticing marketing prospect for a lot of retail investors, a lot of the younger individuals that want to be like him, and at a younger age, who want to have the flashy cars, who want to have, live in the castle with all the women. But there are those out there, and I've spoke about this before in other streams, that there are those out there that want the more traditional, I dare say, Christian conservative mind state of traditional marketing, because it shows more legitimacy, and it shows that you're marketing this more like a business rather than some arbitrary token that most people see as magic internet money. So which segues me into my next question to you. Out of all of the ways that you could market, why postcards, in your opinion? Like, what made you decide postcards?
Well, okay, so there's a couple of reasons why. I mean, one is just any avenue that's available to you, I think, is worthy of looking at. But another aspect to consider, and Richard talks about this a lot, we see cryptocurrency in general can often be gate kept
Yes.
by some of the more traditional advertising venues, magazines, newspapers, television, things like that. You mentioned cryptocurrency, and that's an automatic.
Yeah, Facebook banned that crypto ads for a while. I'm not sure if they still have them banned or not.
Right. Yeah, and so it's difficult to find places that that will accept that kind of advertising. And Richard has been vocal in saying that there was at one time HEX ads were in the Economist magazine, and then all of a sudden they were banned from the magazine. Oftentimes it's in favor of more scammy stuff that gets more the funds or the stocks that are controlled, and oftentimes just the government picks winners and losers and things like that. We don't need to get into a thing about that. That's kind of a separate tangent. But the fact of the matter is, it's gatekeeping the mail is not often done. It's like you can send advertising about digital assets, about HEX, through the mail without any walls being put up saying that, oh no, you can't drop this in a mailbox. So getting it directly into the hands of people, getting a physical piece of mail that has a call to action that explains what HEX is, and says, hey, look, here's a digital asset, here's what it's doing. And like you said, much more traditional, much more conservative, very just going over what it can do for the customer who purchases the product.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you in the fact that postcards are they're more formal. One thing I like to see in marketing is formality. And you don't see that a lot in marketing ventures in cryptocurrency. You'll see them on social media platforms, you'll see them from influencers, but you won't see that traditional old style 20th century quaint view of let's advertise to the common person through something that cannot be gate kept. And as you and I know, I like how you use that word, because we're a gate kept community. I just wrote an article about being gate kept and how the community presses on and how it's important to understand that in order for us to be ungate kept, we need to learn about ways on how to circumvent being gate kept. And sending postcards is one of them as well. So, and when you say 250,000 has been sent out, that's really impressive. And that actually makes me curious on my next question. Is Richard Hart aware of this? And what does he think about this marketing venture?
Yeah, no, that's great. He is, as a matter of fact. We've had Richard has spoken to it about it directly, stating that, that, and I mean, I'm going to paraphrase. I don't know
Yeah, yeah,
the
that's
exact tweet
fine.
in front of me, but he said that he's most proud in of the effort of the marketing efforts that Hexagons have done. He's most proud of this Hex postcards
That's awesome.
venture. Yeah, because he's a big proponent of direct direct marketing. You're going directly to the potential customer and giving them a call to action and what your product is, and doing it directly. I mean, I don't know if you know as much about Richard's history, but I mean, that's kind of how he got his start in back in the early 2000s, was in email marketing. And
No, I didn't know that actually. I always knew about the whole sex toy and selling other things, but I didn't know anything about that.
yeah, no, he's got his start in email marketing and direct to consumer marketing. And that's his industry. He's been doing it for 20 years. And so he's the reason he says he likes that method of advertising is that it works. It's effective. And it kind of, a lot of people shy away from it, or are less apt to use it because they see it as kind of spammy, or they see it as very, like, because it's very in your face oftentimes, and it's like people are shy away from that, but you do what you have to do. I mean, at the end of the day, what if we pull it back a little bit, why are we in Hex?
Yeah,
It's going to save people from a lot of these Celsius, these Lunas,
sad.
right. We want to get people out of these kind of things, these things with admin keys, with middlemen that are trying to just pick away at your money constantly, or just outright be scams altogether, and put them in a product where you have control of it. There's no middlemen, and we'll do that by any means necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that, because right before we went on the podcast, I actually posted something that basically said, I really hope that the insolvency of Celsius and the bailout that Sam from FTX had to do to BlockFi completely demolishes, annihilates the public trust in CeFi,
Yeah.
because it's the antithesis of what blockchain stands for, and what its foundation was built on. And I absolutely agree with you. And I'm glad that Richard likes that as well, because actually, I don't know if you've heard, but the way that I was introduced to Hex, now mind you, I didn't pay much attention to it, but I actually got a thing in the mail in like,
Was it the ledger?
yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was, I believe, in 2020.
Yeah.
And I didn't think anything of it. And but
But it kind of planted the seed,
it
right?
planted the seed. And then I went into a transcendental meditation course 6 months later, and the guy that I was meditating with asked me what I did for a living, and I said I do crypto. And he looked at me, and his wife was like, "Please don't get him into crypto. Please don't. Please, he won't shut up." And he said to me that he was in crypto for 6 months, and he asked me if I've heard of Hex, and I said no. I didn't say no. I said yeah, but I really wasn't interested in it.
Right.
And then 3 weeks later, I found out about Pulse Chain, and I'm like, oh wow, these are synergistic communities.
Yeah.
So it definitely planted the seed, like you said. Now, let me ask you this then: have you seen any results from this? What results have you had empirically from this?
Yeah, no, we've actually had some good results. One of the what's interesting about this project in particular is, and you kind of know this because I happen to know you're on Twitter a lot like I am, and it's like it's funny, and it kind of it compounds with this outrage marketing
Of
angle
course.
Richard is doing. But what these people do is they'll get this card in the mail, some of them, and they'll take a picture of it and they'll post it on their account, and they're saying, look at this scam stuff I've got, whatever, and these people have like 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 followers.
Yeah.
And then of course everyone jumps in, oh, Hex, what is this Hex? Oh, it's a scam, oh, it's a scam, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, people don't understand. You can talk good, you can talk bad, as long as you're talking about it, you're getting it out there, right? And so, but yeah, we've had good results. There's been a couple of people. One in particular was a gentleman by the name of Jack Levin, who's actually,
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard of him, right?
Yes, I actually am trying to get an interview with him. He just
Yeah,
followed me.
yeah, great. That's awesome. Yeah, he's so you know that he's one of the earliest employees of Google. He's
Yes.
a Bitcoin OG. He actually did an interview with Crypto Coffee, and if you go through that interview, about halfway through, quarter way through somewhere, he mentions that yeah, he hadn't heard of Hex until he got a postcard in the mail, and that he didn't really think, similar to your circumstance, he didn't really think too much of it. He looked at it and said, oh, okay, this has got to be a scam. It's got to be a top call here that I'm getting crypto stuff in the mail.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, right. So he threw it away, and then somehow but it planted the seed. And then somehow he got across another video with Richard, and he's like, "Who's this guy?" And he just started listening to him, and he said, "Wow, this is, I really appreciate what he's saying, and I can kind of get his angle." And so that was a big pickup. And that, if you think about it, if you send out 1,000 of these, 10,000 of these, and you get one person like that, it's just, doesn't that make it worth it? But there's been other ones. There's been other like influencers and people in crypto. There's one gentleman who's like a very early Twitter person. He has his Twitter handles @Peter. That's how early he is, and he was like from 2006. He runs some Visa venture digital finance, digital finance thing for Visa, and he posted a picture of the postcard. He goes, "What is this Hex?" And that started a whole huge discussion, which Richard was involved in. And but those are just two examples. There's been a few more, but that right there, it just shows you that people are seeing these cards, and that doesn't account for the people that actually see it and maybe say, "Oh, I'll go to the website and check it out, and maybe I'll look into it more." Some people, just like you, it just plants a seed. Some people just, we don't have any disillusions. A lot of people, 99-98% of people just throw it in the trash. But if you get a handful of just people that actually act on it or do something with it, that's the end goal.
It is, exactly. If you get, if you give out 250,000, but you onboard 5,000, that's 5,000 more people than there was before. And you and I both know that in cryptocurrency, 5,000 people and 5,000 person onboard is massive. There's almost, I think, 100,000 stakers now. Adding that, I think we're at 97,000 or something like that. With 5,000 more stakers, that would hit us over the 100K mark. Mm-hmm. So that kind of shows the inherent value of interest. If someone's interested in something, they're going to look it up, and it's going to be planted in the seed, like you said. Like I said, like I didn't think anything of it. I looked at it and I literally said, I was like, "What is this?" And I threw it out because I was like so trepidatious, because I've been in crypto since 2017. I'm like, well, I've seen so many different scams. I know of so many scammers. I was like, what is this? And I saw, and I used to look at Richard Hart on Twitter a lot. Like I saw him. I remember seeing Richard on Twitter when he had like 26,000 followers, and he still had that like wizard look, like he plays WoW. And then I started realizing, all right, this guy's legitimate. And it's funny, as you said this, literally somebody texted me saying on Twitter saying, why does Richard Hart appeal to court? Why does Richard Hart appeal to you? All he does is vaunt his wealth. And I'm going to respond after this podcast and say, well, outrage marketing is incredibly effective, but there are those out there that are doing marketing in a more traditional, more quaint and humble fashion. And I think when you amalgamate all of that together, I think you have a very effective network effect. And you see that right now with Hex trending. Yeah. It doesn't matter if what he's doing is exactly what Trump did to get elected. And that's exactly why I wrote that in that article, because there's no such thing as bad publicity, in my opinion. I mean, granted, yes, you get it, fame and infamy, like they teeter on the same line. So with that being said, I think what he's doing is very effective. Do I agree with all of it? No. But do I think it's effective? Sure, I do. Do I think that there?
What does Richard always say? You have to punch hard. You have to punch so hard just to get through the noise. I mean, you walk outside, you living in Long Island,
Yeah,
I mean, go down to Times Square. I've
yeah,
been to Times Square, ad, 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 ad,
yeah,
ad,
yeah, it's
ad,
everywhere.
everywhere. You're
You look
bombarded
up and it's yeah.
constantly, 24/7. Your phone, your
Mhm.
the walls, the TVs on the wall. It's everywhere.
Bro, everything has come to a point where it's like, even you go on like Google, even if you go on malicious websites, there's ads. Even if you go on news websites, there's ads. If you go on YouTube, there's ads. Hell, I'm a content creator and I put up ads for
Right.
ad revenue. Like, ads are a part of life. If you have cable, still somehow, I mean, I'm kidding. Um, I'm kidding.
Well, to bring it back to Trump real quick, one other thing I want to
Sure, yeah,
bring up,
please, say please.
it's fun, and I appreciate and I agree with you 100% why you brought him up, because regardless of what you think of Trump, it's
Mhm.
beautiful what he did
I agree.
to get himself out there.
Mhm.
He did it by virtue of, and I've seen this chart, and I posted this chart on my Twitter, and I've seen this talked about before, but he did it by virtue of the media just going crazy about him.
Yep,
And they thought, and all of this is free advertising. They
and it
did
worked.
a chart, and it worked. Yeah, they did a chart where it's like he got like if you did the dollar amount of the amount of stories and news attention that was given to him just on the nightly news or in New York Times articles or what have you, it was like $100 million compared to like Hillary had something similar to like 40 million, and then
Yeah,
Ted Cruz was like at 10 million or something like that. And it blew my mind because
same
the
here.
yeah, the scale is off the chart.
Yeah, I thought Hillary was going to win, but then what happened was is the exact opposite, and I think it was because of that network effect, that media effect. And I think this is exactly what's happening now. So let me excuse me. Let me
Yeah.
ask you this, brother. You commented on it before. You said 250,000 cards have gone out. Do you want to add on to that to the next question? How many cards have gone out?
So we had a goal, I guess, of 1 million cards. That's a little I don't know. I don't want to say the word arbitrary, but I mean it's just kind of like a standard that that 7-figure mark.
You ain't
A
far off
million,
from it.
yeah, and that's something we kind of want to hit. Right now, it's frankly the project's in a little bit of limbo because the person who started it, Togosh, has taken a step back from just Twitter and Telegram altogether. He needs to kind of just kind of recenter himself a little bit, but I'm trying to step up and do more work for the project and get more people involved, because right now the Telegram group has about 400 members. I would like to definitely see at least double that,
Oh, send me the link. I'll put it in the
Sure,
description. If
I
you're gonna
will
get
do
a
that.
Telegram, I'll join it.
It's just, this is for then anyone who wants to be involved. I mean, it's not like just a general chat thing. It's something, if you're a hexagon, especially if you have a if you're staking your hex,
Yeah,
you kind of have a vested interest in pumping your bag and also just getting the message out. So it's you can help monetarily, you can help by, we did a design contest a couple weeks ago where we had people submit designs for a cash prize to do different types of postcard designs. And so we got about 24 entries of different designs. So that stuff like that we value that, and just creative input, ideas. Definitely, we want to get more people involved because the Hexagon community is growing, and especially when you consider what's going on Twitter with
mhm,
trending and everything,
yeah,
it keeps growing. So advertising is a way we can keep the train running.
absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And my question to you then is: we talk about hexagons, we talk about trending, and we talk about, and this is all a network effect of a united front of hexagons helping out. How do they help? How would they help this project? How do hexagons help hex postcards specifically?
Yeah, so obviously the first and foremost, financial donations are always appreciated, but I recognize it's a bear. I mean, I'm strapped as well, waiting for Pulse Chain. I'm doing this interview from a hotel room because I'm out of town for my 9 to 5. But that's just one thing. spreading, you always, money is a tool, right? So it's one tool, spreading the word, just getting, the things I said earlier, just getting involved in our Telegram. You can go to hexpostcards.com. We've already got, it's very easy to understand. It's very similar to Hex Daily Stats in that you click on the little buttons that have the different things, whether it be what are the results, what are the what's the proof, what are the receipts that from what we're getting from the printers. All of this stuff is well tracked and documented. We've got spreadsheets of the most highest wealth zip codes in the United States, which has kind of been our goal to target that demographic. But we are still trying to just get more people involved. And that's really the main goal of why I want to talk to you, why I did actually do an interview with Wake Up Hex earlier today.
That's awesome.
And we just want to make sure people are aware of it. That's the number one thing. There's people like me, like you, doing podcasts. We're just volunteers. We're doing this because we believe in we believe in Hex. We believe in the projects that are promoting Hex, and we believe in Richard, and that's just, we found it a good use of our time.
Oh yeah, amen to that, brother. And from a more traditionalist viewpoint, I appreciate what you guys are doing, because I'm not, like I said before, like I understand that outrage marketing works. I understand that it has a network effect. I don't have to like something to understand that I acknowledge that it works well.
Yeah.
But I don't have to do it. But I know it works well, damn well. But if there's a more traditionalist way to entice older people and more traditionalist individuals who may be now less intimidated by cryptocurrency, because the fact that cryptocurrency is not just this amalgamation of digitization, it's more of a now they're adding to more of a traditional marketing approach that was more prevalent in the early to mid 20th century. So I think that actually has a nostalgic effect as well. I'm sorry,
Corey, I'm sorry to cut you off. One good thing about Hex Postcards, and I'm always forget to mention this, but if you like the idea of the postcard strategy, but for some reason you don't like that particular design that we're putting out, or you don't like, you don't want to give anybody funding, you want to, take control and do it kind of yourself. We've laid out the tools to do that. I'd still encourage anyone who's kind of, reluctant to give away money, or say like, oh, this design isn't what I think would work, or they have little qualms there. Come to the group anyways. We can help you get set up with ideas on, we've got other designs. We've got kind of a play-by-play way for you to, if you say like, I've got $1,000 or I've got $500 and I want to, dedicate it to marketing, we can kind of show you, look, here's a person you can contact. Here are some designs that came out. If you like these designs, you're welcome to use them. You're welcome to make your own. And then you can take over from there. It's a kind of DIY thing if you want to do it more kind of hands-on approach. And then there's also, of course, what we're doing, and you're welcome to join aboard that as well.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate all that you've done for for Hex, for expanding the word of Hex in a more humble and quaint way that's more nostalgic and more I want to say respectable for people who are more traditionalist, such like myself, such like others that I've interviewed that may not approve of this style of marketing. So I want to say that I really appreciate what you're doing, Victor, and I'd like to have you on again in the near future. And I really appreciate your time. And guys, please follow Victor on his Twitter at Punished Vic. That's Punished VIC. And I will put the Telegram and Twitter links in the description. And yeah, that's all. That's just send me the Telegram and Twitter link and the main website, and I'll post it in the description, Victor. So I want to say thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thanks, Corey, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, dude. Thank you.
All right.